Welcome to the third of three revision videos for Year 11. In the previous two videos, we've looked at how to revise, which is active recall. And in the last one, we looked at how often you should revise and how important it was to plan your revision in to ensure that you get revision cycles. In this one, we're going to have a look at a range of basic hints and tips, including when to revise and where to revise. Now, the first thing in terms of where to revise is that there isn't really a right or wrong answer to this one. Some people have said that you should not revise in your bedroom. An area where you're supposed to be relaxed and preparing to sleep shouldn't be associated with where you've been stressed or working really, really hard. And therefore, they might suggest that you work in the kitchen or in the living room. However, we've all got very different family lives, and it may well be that you have younger brothers and sisters. It might be that the kitchen isn't a quiet area. It might be that you haven't got the setup in the living room to have all of your revision resources. So the key thing is you revise wherever you feel most comfortable and where you're going to be most productive. There are some key things to consider though. First and foremost, make sure that wherever you are revising, it's tidy. Clutter like this image here will make sure that you are not going to have effective revision, partly because you won't be able to find any of the notes or resources that you're looking for, and therefore you'll waste time, but also partly because the distractions that you would have with a mess like this would mean that you wouldn't take the information in as effectively as if it looked like this. So make sure that your area has been prepared beforehand. Make sure that you spent a minute or two to make sure you've got all the resources, revision guides, highlighters, flashcards, everything that you need around you. There's nothing worse than finding that you need to go and have a look for something, and then you use that as an excuse to put off revision and spend 5 minutes looking for a particular highlighter. Also, make sure that wherever you are working, it's free from distraction. So it might be that if you were by a window, you'd spend a lot of the time staring out of it, looking at what's going on outside. So make sure that it's tidy, that you've got everything that you need, and that you're away from distractions. Some people would suggest perhaps working in a library or somewhere other than at home, which is perfectly fine if you've got a local library or you've got a place like a coffee shop that, again, is free of too many distractions. If that works for you, that's fine. But remember the four key areas: tidy, organized, free from distraction, and it's accessible. No point in trying to only revise in libraries and coffee shops if you are not going to be able to do the revision at the time that you need. Same thing with when to revise. There's no particular time that I'm going to tell you that you need to get up in the mornings. Certainly, weekends and holidays, everybody's going to have a particular time that they get up. But there are some key things to consider. Doing revision earlier in the day is better. So, in the first 5 hours or so of you actually getting up in the morning, if you can get your revision done and out the way, it is much, much better for you. If you do it in the middle of the day, it's still fine and it still works. It's just the longer you leave things and the more you put it off, the greater the risk that by the time you get to the end of the day, you're tired and you've kind of put the revision off all the way through the day. Therefore, just another hour or two and you can put it off until tomorrow. The more you do this, obviously, the less revision you do. The well-being that you will feel if you've got the revision done earlier in the day, and therefore you can concentrate on enjoying the rest of the day, would make you feel like the revision has been successful and make it more likely that you'll get on with the revision the next day. There's a series of videos that you can find on YouTube that are done by BBC Scotland called Brain Smart. And they talk about how to revise. They have some good videos on revision techniques. And they also talk about basic things about how to keep yourself healthy and avoid stress. The ones that you can see here: a healthy diet, making sure that you're hydrated, getting plenty of exercise, and getting sleep are all some of the key things that they talk about. And if you get a moment, I would definitely recommend having a look at those videos, particularly the ones that talk about stress and what to do if you're starting to feel anxious. In the videos, they talk about trying to get outside, get exercise, and get around nature. Now, that's not just for the benefit of exercise, which is great because it gets your endorphins going. There are actual scientific reasons as to why getting outside, walking in the park, or somewhere where there's trees and fields around is a good idea. The bacteria that live in the soil actually release chemicals that are shown to reduce blood pressure and stress. So, keep looking after yourself in terms of what you eat, how you avoid stress, getting exercise, and going out for walks are all good things if you feel that you're finding it hard to concentrate. One area I do want to really talk about, though, is sleep. We talked in a previous video about how you have short-term memory and long-term memory. When you do any particular revision, it will go into the short-term memory. When you then go to sleep at night, there are a series of stages that you go through: a series of light sleep, and then a series of deep sleep. Final stage that you go into is called REM, or rapid eye movement. And it's during this stage when you dream, but it's also during this stage when you upload the information from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. REM only takes around about 20 minutes, but occurs at the end of a cycle. So once you've done your first cycle, which lasts 90 minutes to about 2 hours, you will have had one 20-minute session of REM when will have uploaded some of the short-term memory. If you then go through another cycle of light sleep, deep sleep, and then REM, so you've done another hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep, then you will upload some more of your short-term memory. And ideally, a good night's sleep would mean that you would have 4 complete cycles, and it takes 4 complete cycles to upload all of your information into your long-term memory. If you don't get all 4 cycles, then obviously that would be one section of REM that you wouldn't get, and some of the information would stay in your short-term memory. So you need 4 full cycles to make sure that all of the revision that you have done has been uploaded into your long-term memory. That means that you need to be sleeping for around about 8 hours of sleep to fully upload all the information that you revised during that day. Unfortunately, many people will get 5, 6, or 7 hours of sleep, which means that you might miss that fourth session of REM, which means some of the revision that you did doesn't get uploaded to your long-term memory and would eventually disappear from short-term. So that's the end of the 3 videos. Hopefully, therefore, you know how to revise, which was active recall, making sure that you go over information again and again, constantly testing yourself, that you plan your time effectively, know when your mock exam weeks are, know when your final exams are, and make sure that you have subject cycles where you go through small active recall revision and then use proper past paper questions to test yourself. And finally, that you look after yourself whilst you're revising. Do it in the right place, spend a little bit of time to get yourself organized, and make sure that you look after yourself in terms of the diet, the exercise, and the sleep that you need. Hopefully you found these videos helpful. If you do have any questions, make sure that you speak to your form tutors, subject teachers, Miss Lockett, Miss Hearns, or myself, and we'll do what we can to help you.